Hello, my name is Michael V. Moore, aka MicVinny, aka Mr. Travel Fitness. If you did not know or were not following me, if you're not part of the fan club, or this is the very first video you ever seen of myself, what you do not know is I had a very severe case of food poisoning a couple weeks ago. It was so severe that it put me in the hospital. Basically, long story short, I was actually traveling. I was staying at a hotel. I took a nice workout. I'm a member of Anytime Fitness right now, and so I went to a gym that was in the area because that's one of the things I recommend as a travel fitness coach is you always try and find a local gym, go to the gym, get a regular workout in. So that's exactly what I did. By the time it was over, as you saw in one of my other videos, I was looking for a post-workout shake. Got the shake, waited a couple hours later, and ironically, like about 4 hours after I recorded that video, that's when all this chaos happened in my life. So what happened that night was me and my wife decided to get something fast. It was a Delicious Daily. I don't want to call them out because they're a pretty reputable company, and I'm not sure if it's them or if I had a virus in my body. I think it was a combination of them. So what happened was I ordered a Philly cheesesteak because I don't eat Philly cheesesteaks that often. In addition to the Philly cheesesteak, I had some curly fries and I had like a large chocolate double fudge cake, something like that. And for me at this time, that was going overboard. So I was basically eating what a typical person would eat when they travel, is they would settle for convenience. And I was going to make a point with all that. And lo and behold, that the point I was trying to make totally slapped me in the face by me getting food poisoning. So about 11, 12 at night, that's the first bout of I just had to get out of bed and had to go to the bathroom. I thought I just had to go to the bathroom. I'm not going to get graphic, but you can figure out what I'm talking about. After a couple rounds of that, it literally felt like my stomach was going in and out, and just getting bigger and bigger. And I just felt awful. And then finally, I did throw it all up. And then once I started throwing up, it was nonstop between out one end or out the other. So about 6 hours later, I still was suffering. And by the time it was like 9 a.m., that's when me and my wife decided that, yeah, I needed to go to the emergency room or a doctor, urgent care facility, just because I was not able to keep fluids in my body. So at that particular time, what I was doing was I already started my summer weightlifting routine. I was trying to lose some fat for the summer. I actually have one of my fitness friends is actually being my accountability coach, I guess you can say, where I actually check in with her. And 2 days prior to me getting food poisoning, I actually told her that, yeah, I'm going to start right back on track. Don't worry about it. I'll get down to my catch weight, because I was actually behind on what my target is. So whenever I set my goals, I always have these little mini markers, and I keep track of that. So when I work with my clients as well, I kind of have their own like mini markers that they're not even aware of. But I actually have like goals for them that I expect them to achieve. So I expect the same for me, like realistic goals. And I already was suffering from poor eating, and so that night or that day was when I was about to get back on track. And that was like my last hurrah, because I was going to, like I said, I was going to make this big point about how to eat while traveling, and then what happens if you don't eat right, and how that can affect your whole week. And little did I know that it definitely affected me big time. So that kind of long-winded introduction kind of gets to what this video is all about, which is pivoting. A lot of people don't understand how to pivot. And if you're a traveler, especially out there, if you're a person that goes on these trips, on these business trips, you know you gotta learn how to pivot. So imagine here it is, me, travel fitness coach, Mr. Fitness guy, has this nice big plan all set in motion, has exact workouts right now. I have all these Excel spreadsheets where it told me exactly the deadlifts I was going to do in week 3, week 4, week 5, and if I met this goal and what was going to be next week. All that got thrown out the window when all of a sudden I'm sitting down in the hospital, getting stuck with all these needles in my arms. And I shared this information like on my Facebook page and showed a couple of the pictures. I'll probably have it streaming while I'm talking about this. But I had like 4 different people that worked in that hospital actually try and find a vein for me because I was so dehydrated I didn't even have veins in my arms. That's how bad the food poisoning was for me. So they had to stick me 10 times to finally find a vein worthy enough of actually being able to give me IV fluids. And so I was miserable, and I was so in such a bad condition I could care less about them actually sticking me because I was just worried I was going to throw up all over the place. That's where my focus was, and that's why I kept telling them, like, trust me, I'm not even focusing on the pain. You know, I know they could take needles, but they kept stabbing me. I could care less about that because I just felt nauseous, really, really nauseous. And by the time they put the medicine in, I felt better about 2 hours later. I got home, and for the next week, I was on a totally different meal plan. Like the gym was a no-go. And so that meant I had to eat a lot of, basically, I was on soup, rice, maybe a banana every now and then, but pretty much applesauce and yogurt. That was 95% of what I ate. No, big chicken breasts, no steaks, no hamburgers. Even though I was eating rice on my bodybuilding, I also did have rice as well. Eventually, I was able to start eating rice a little bit more. But as you can see, by me naming all these foods I was eating, it's pretty much carbohydrate heavy. And so not only carbohydrate heavy, but just pretty much sugar heavy as well, because bread was also another thing I was eating, and crackers. So I was just trying to eat stuff that would settle my stomach because I thought that, hey, let me try this little piece of chicken. I tried it, and then all of a sudden my stomach cramped up. It's like, no, what are you doing? So that totally threw me off my game. And so what that meant for myself is I had to pivot. I had to come up with a totally different game plan. And that's what happens with a lot of people out there when you travel or something just happens in your life. A lot of people just don't know how to pivot. They're afraid to pivot, or they just don't have the skills to. They expect everything in their life to always go exactly the same way. No, as soon as I start that weight loss program, nothing's going to go wrong. And that's further from the truth. Like, if you really want a goal, life is going to get in the way. But as long as you stay focused on that goal and don't worry about what's going over there or worry about what's going over there, just stay focused on that goal. Because eventually you're going to get something to distract you, like right in front of you. So when that distraction comes, you just got to pivot. You just got to change direction. That's all you got to do to get around that obstacle and just keep your eye on the prize. And so in my case, I know my prize was, I'm trying to get down to about 192. So anything less than 192 pounds, for me represents I lost about 15 pounds of fat. And for the past year, I've been kind of in this little flux state of being healthy, but I know when I'm 205 pounds, I want to look a different way when I'm 205 pounds. And for me, I wanted to reconstruct my body, so I want to get as much fat off as possible without driving myself too much insane before like starting building my body up and putting muscle in certain areas where I want to see it as I get closer to 40. And that's my vision. So first, I'm just focused on my fat loss. And so I had this nice little plan, and down suddenly I got food poisoning. And so what I had to do, here's food poisoning right here. I can decide to just stop, or I could pivot and change my game plan up. And that's currently what I did. What I'm doing right now is I completely changed my plan up. And I changed my diet up because after a week of all that rice and bread and soup, eventually my stomach got a little bit better, but I still was not able to eat like the protein foods I was eating previously. Whereas anyone that follows me knows I'm a big believer in intermittent fasting, and I like to eat big meals. So I normally eat like 2 big meals a day. But because of what happened to my stomach, I could no longer do that. I had to pivot. So now I'm going and I'm basically transform my diet into drinking more liquids and only having 1 little small meal a day. And I pivoted especially towards something I know I was very successful in the past. So I'll go more in detail about the Velocity diet because it's not my diet, so that's why I'm not going to be very secretive about it. Actually, the company prints this diet out for free, and anyone can do it. It's just a matter of they want you to buy their supplements, and I'm not a big supplement person. They don't pay me for their supplements. I will admit there are quality supplements, but I don't want people out there getting the wrong idea that, oh, this is how I'm going to lose weight. Yeah, they kind of totally missed the whole picture, the big overall picture of the diet, which is just calorie control and emphasizing protein and eating quality food. That's what leads me towards fat loss. And so for me, I had to pivot, and this diet required me to pretty much have something in my body almost every 2 to 3 hours, which is something I used to do in my younger days. Even though people all probably think I'm 19 years old out there who's seeing this for the first time. Yeah, so I'm eating or drinking more often, and it's totally different than what I was doing before. So for me, it's all about changing because it's going to get me towards my destination. So for those who don't follow my Instagram, because right now on my Instagram, I've been broadcasting every day, putting a picture up, and then I do a my story of like behind the scenes of how I actually feel that day. So if you want to see it, go to my Instagram page. I'll be sure to share this on my YouTube or blog where you can go on Instagram and see me and get more details about the Velocity Diet because it's actually tnation.com. They're the ones that provide this diet. Biotest is the name of their supplemental company, and they give you the whole plan. So like I said, I'll talk about that next week and go in more details because also the reason I kind of like the Velocity Diet, like I said, they don't sponsor me or anything like that. But as a frequent traveler, the first time I did do this, I chose this diet just because I was traveling and so busy with what was going on in my life. So I'll get more into that into the next week's video. But for now, I just want to talk about pivoting because no matter what, I know I'm focused on the travelers, but it doesn't matter who you are out there. You're going to get that distraction, and you got to figure out how to get around that. So if you have no idea how to get around that, please reach out to me. Just send me an email, michael@micvinny.com. Go to my website, micvinny.com. Go to the contact page and contact me. Go to Facebook. That's primarily where I'm at. To be honest, it's easy to find me on Facebook, Michael Moore, or look for MicVinny. Send me a message. Contact me. Seriously, I want to help you. If you have no idea how to pivot, I would love to help you pivot. Pivot right, pivot left, pivot up, pivot down. So that's it for today. I'll see you next week, and stay blessed.